President, Conference, Rob Witherspoon, Branch Secretary of Bristol District Amal, rising to move motion 30. And in moving it, I want to say when the circumstances change, when the approach that we're taking fails to get results, we need to change our approach. And the TUC's response to the trade union bill has been a failure on any terms. There have been minor cosmetic changes made to the bill, while all of the harshest and most damaging parts of the bill remain very much in place. Now, in 2011, this union unanimously carried a policy of pushing a general strike against austerity through the TUC. It was a policy I spoke in favour of. I believe Tony Kearns spoke in favour of it, and as I said, it was carried unanimously. However, it came to very little, and the problem with relying on the TUC to fight our battles is that the debate always gets dragged down to the level of the weakest union. So in the recent attacks contained in the trade union bill, the CWU tried to push a letter coming from the TUC General Secretary to all home addresses of trade unionists in the UK, which I think was absolutely the right policy and would have been a good start. Some unions in the General Council were not prepared to do that. Just let that sink in for a moment. We've had the largest general attacks on the trade union movement since Thatcher, when we've already got the most restrictive laws in the Western world, and some unions thought sending letters to members' homes' addresses was a bit much. So the alternative my branch is proposing, instead of relying on the lowest denominator in the union movement, why don't we work with those unions like ourselves who have a strong fighting tradition? And there are a number of unions I can think of who would be open to that approach about united action against that bill. The NUT are already in dispute around academisation of schools. The FBU have existing disputes around pension and station closures. And does anyone think that the RMT won't be up for a scrap? And we don't have to stop there. The BMA, whilst not part of the TUC, have shocked everyone with the junior doctors dispute, which has drawn broad public support. It could be, as the Daily Mail claims, that the doctors are all Marxist agitators. I think it's more likely that we're seeing the beginning of a more general fight back against the Tories and the failed austerity plan. There was a lot of talk yesterday and today about being at the forefront of shifting the balance of power in society. And to do that, we can't use the inactivity of the TUC as an excuse. We need to take a lead with the better organised and strongest elements of the trade union movement. The timing could not be better.
Is the extension agreed? Thank you. Carry on, Rob.
Thank you, Conference. The timing could not be better. Whilst this government are chancing their arm, pushing forward anti-union laws with no justification or public support, they are sitting on a small majority and have been forced into embarrassing U-turns on a number of major issues, from tax credits to personal independence payments, even Sunday trading laws. USDOR managed to force them back on that. Their economic plan is failing even on its own terms. They're weak, divided and vulnerable, and this is exactly the time they could be forced into retreat by collective action by the strongest trade unions. Now, there's a danger in the moment in thinking that we can rely on a Labour government getting elected in 2020. Now look, our branch is the strongest supporter of Jeremy Corbyn, but we can't rely on politicians, and we cannot rely on it being a certainty that there's a Labour government in 2020 to repeal these laws. This trade union bill will be the thin end of the wedge. As Tony Kearns said yesterday, they won't put this bill in and then stop there. I was talking to a firefighter last week who said they want to put in a law to stop them having even the legal right to strike. Postal workers will be next, and do you honestly think that they won't say that the telecoms industry is not an essential industry in the 21st century that should be banned from striking? If we don't take a stand now, what attacks can we expect over the next 5 years, 10 years, or even longer? conference, I urge you to support this motion.
Thanks, Rob. Seconder.